Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, I'm SocioPsycho, and this is No Light News, your weekly Friday update for all the information that you need to know that happened in gaming and otherwise. Our first topic is women, not teenage boys, are leading the mobile gaming charge. This is nice to get away from the stereotype that all people who play all video games are nothing more but giant nerds that live in their mother's basement. The study shows that women make up more than 30% in app purchases than men, and also spend on average some 35% more time on those games, which means they're more loyal. Of course, that's pretty much understandable. It's a shame that most of those new video game players are playing mobile games and thinking that is what games consist of. While I am happy to see the growing number of women getting into video games, I hope that they won't be eaten by the microtransactional beast that is mobile games, and most will go on to play on better platforms and even get into the development business. Now that would definitely be nice. The more diversity we have in making games, the better and more enriched we all will be for it. This is a good thing, and I for one look forward to where this will lead society in the coming years, as long as mobile pay-to-win or pay-to-play styles of greed don't stifle it. In other news, Sacred 3 developer apologizes for game, blames poorly received changes on publisher. I don't know about that one, you can only get so far. Sacred 3 didn't go over well with fans of the franchise, primarily because it was so different from what fans of the series came to expect. It's like releasing Call of Duty, whatever number we're up to now, as a top-down turn-based strategy game instead of a first-person shooter. If I was in charge, someone would have definitely gotten fired in a hardcore style, yet this is of a quote we get. The marketing department of Deep Silver was the only one with enough power to change the direction of the franchise. Marketing department? Really? That is a very poor analytic research of the very product they are meant to market. Yes, I see the fans love the first two and want a third just like it. So, instead, let's make a whole different type of game pissing off the loyal fans of the first two, and destroy the franchise, if not, then at least the product, the respect of our fans. When things happen like this to games in development, people either end up leaving the team during development, or the product gets set back, more money gets poured in, arguments on the top brass end up yelling at each other, and some of it makes its way into a public view in very poor taste. Just seems if you have an old series you love to play, it's only a matter of time before it's killed for good. We saw it with Tomb Raider, then the Thief reboot, some would even say Deus Ex, and now Sacred 3. Who will be next? Now that's the real question, as it seems people pulling the money strings have their heads up their asses. They're trying to change what the game is, instead of just releasing the game as it should have been. You don't need to try to change the game to appease a larger market and in the process end up hurting more of a market. But on to another more interesting area where developers are actually doing the right thing. Video-less 3D games developed for blind players. Now, video-less games use a production technique known as binary recording to construct an immersive audio-only world. The latest game in this genre has been just launched by a team of creative developers in France. They used a crowdfunding campaign to raise more than 40,000 euros to turn their demo into a functioning product. They quote, "The noises from the forest, the birds flying above, the rivers flowing, you hear these sounds, and that information helps a gamer locate themselves in that environment." I have known about our blind brother and sister gamers for some time, and while I'm very happy to know that more of these styles of games are coming out, it excites me even more for the endless possibilities to integrate the sound and the technique and the immersion alongside the Oculus Rift. Put those together and it could take you out of your body without the need to plug electrodes into your brain or some such. Think of it, full virtual reality MMOs. I certainly hope I get to see something like that in my lifetime. So I commend those who are working to break new walls in and get even more gamers to our cause and help expand the joy that it brings people. Which brings us to our final news topic. It's a short news wheel this time around. Sketch Factor app for unsafe areas is now racist. Oh boy. This is how you know our society is way too sensitive and touchy about anything. Also willing to jump at any chance to scream racism to improve views. Okay, so what is Sketch Factor? Well, it's an app user crowdsourced data from users to pinpoint sketchy areas as well as to provide safe walking directions. Some headline titles are as followed: white people create terrible app to avoid sketchy areas. That was one headline. Another, want to avoid black neighborhoods? There's an app for that now. This is just sad. In addition to user data, the app also incorporates public crime data and entrusted sources. So if you're walking in New York, never been there before in your life, and you look at this app and it says, don't go down this road, you may get mugged, or there's a high probability of people who've been mugged that went down there, even if it was written in a racist undertone or blatantly obviously racist way. Well, now you know don't go down that way because it has a low police presence and a higher crime rate. This is so dumb. People calling it racist. If you're black or minority and you can pinpoint areas that would not welcome you, then wouldn't it be better to know that and avoid it as well? It doesn't matter if it's a white guy looking not to walk into a ghetto area or a black guy not walking into a wrong store who's going to profile him as a thief. It's about personal protection. We separate ourselves in society on our own. Long before any program tells us what hubs are here or there, the hubs are made first. A group of black guys, old white guys, and Hispanics who only speak Spanish are in a room. What do you think will happen for the most part? They'll split off into their own social groups. It's just how our society and how we work as people. People need to stop being all butthurt about the truth. If you don't like the way something is, don't yell at the people who titled it, but the reason it gets titled in the first place, which would be the actions of those making the area that way. High crime rate zones or even low rate but fear of being mugged nonetheless? If you're a racist, so what? You're still doing what you can not to get mugged or murdered or raped or whatever. And until your negativity and fear and racism manifests itself into a negative effect that affects the people in those neighborhoods, there is no harm done by not going into those neighborhoods because an app tells you not to. We all want to be safe. A system like Sketch Factor allows that. No matter how small some racist undertones may sneak in, get over it. It's that way because the people who live there allow it to be that way. If a ghetto is a ghetto, it's not because the buildings are falling down, but the people who live there aren't taking care of their community. It's as simple as that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very short no-lag news this week. Not much rambling to do, and some good information to get out. I thank you for watching, for I've been SocioPsycho, and this has been No Lag News. We don't hold back, and we give it to you as it is. I'll see you next time.